In this video, we are going to work and follow the process of doing a basic texturing job using some textures and working from the UV editor. And I have my pliers object here, which has been UV'd already, and I have the object ready to be textured. And I want to simply create. Let's see, create a texture for it. There are the parts separated, and I'm going to simply from the UV editor export out the UV snapshot, and I'm going to make them uh, 1024 by 1024 right now, although it would be better if it was a bit larger, but for now that's what I'm going to do, just to make it a bit faster. And I'm going to just export out the UV map onto my source images folder. Okay, so let me just look for my folder here. I'm gonna call it plier body UV map, and save it as an Maya IFF. It could be also as a PNG or a TIFF. Maya IFF is what I like, so I'm going to just go with that. Apply and close. That gave me a message where that was saved. Let me get this out of there. And I'm going to go to Photoshop now, and I'm going to go and look for those images there. Let's see if I can do that. Okay, so I'm looking here for an IFF image. There they are. Pliers body UV map IFF. And here's my file. And I'm going to just create a new layer, because the layer that I have, layer 0, you can barely see the map there. So I'm going to create a new layer, put it below, and I'm going to just to apply a black color just to see it there. Okay, so the process here is we're gonna just identify textures for this object. I'm going to keep it relatively simple because I don't want to make it too difficult for myself. And the first thing I'm going to do is, I want to find images or photographs that will give me the texture I want. Ideally, you want to take the photograph yourself, or if you can't, or you don't have the equipment, or you don't have the capacity to take photographs, good photographs for texturing, you can use services or websites that allow you to do it. In this case, we can use textures.com. Textures.com is a site that allows us to use photographs, and especially for students, they allow you to use it up to a certain size for free, and give you the right to use them for your learning projects. For professional things, you would not use them for free. You have to buy or pay them. So we have 3D scan materials, which is where we want to go to, and I'm going to go here and look for metal. And I already let's see, under not rock but metal materials, there's a bunch of different metals that I can try to go and find. I have already done that, so I'm not going to repeat that process now, but let me just get my window here, and I'm going to go and open up those images which I had already, as I said, identified prior to. So I have downloaded few images here. Let me try to open them up. I have this this image that it's kind of like a flat scratched metal that has some scratches in it. You can see it. It's kind of like a plain, kind of like a tone that has some noise in it. I also downloaded on the same file. Downloaded an image for scratches themselves in gray. So here is the scratches file, which came from the same place, just like a scratched, black and white image that gives me all the scratches that I could use for my file. And I'm going to just to work with those. Plus, I also want to create other things. So I'm going to start from that. I'm going to just simply pull these guys to the side for a moment, and I have my things here. Actually, let's see if I can move this a little bit for a moment here, because I don't like this way my window is being cropped there. Okay, that makes it a little bit better for me to work. And I'm going to just simply start by grabbing that image, the flat image, that background, and then just gonna put it and drop it here. So that image, actually I think I picked the wrong one. I picked this one. I'm gonna grab that background there and drop it here. You can see that that image is 1024 by 1024. That's why I created my original UV map at 1024 by 1024. But obviously you probably want to create a bigger image, a larger file size for you to have better resolution. And the thing is that if you make a larger file, you gotta make sure you do not scale up the images, because if you scale up the images, you're going to break them. You can scale them down, but never up. And here, I have a applied that texture all over. The pliers are going to be mostly metal, so they're going to receive all of that material most of the places, which is totally fun, and this will be a good start for my model to have. But I also want to add some additional information to it. I want to add for example, some extra coloring in here or texturing in here. And for that, I just did a quick search of images, and I found this little piece here that I'm going to use. I'll just bring it here into my file, which is kind of like an image that I got for the section, the pliers where they have the grip to just grab from the objects they're going to be grabbing from, and just try to rotate that holding shift. I'm going to rotate it. I'm going to scale them down to give me that little segment that pliers usually have. I'm going to place that there, and I'm going to try to keep it like that for now. So having this, I can pretty much leave it. I could add more information to it. Let's say if I wanted to add a little rust or bigger scratches or dents to the thing, I could find different components, different elements, and add to it. I'm gonna keep it simple for now. Just you add, if you want to add rust, you get an image with some rust, and you just grab it and place it there, wherever you want to place it. I'm gonna just hide the UV map from it, and I'm gonna save my first pliers body color, not PSD. I'm gonna change it save it as an IFF. I like IFFs, and I know that Arnold will do rhythm too, or you could do TIFFs if you want to. I'm gonna do color. That way I'm gonna say save. Some people call them differently, or call them the diffuse. I don't it doesn't matter if you call it diffuse or you call it color, that'll be fine. In this case, the IFF says me if you want to be a Maya or a Mega file. Maya is the format, of course. I'm gonna say okay, and I am going to go back to Maya and apply that to my file. So we are going to be rendering this with Arnold to start. So we want to use shaders for Arnold. So this way, the easiest way and the fastest way to get started is by, of course, launching your Hypershade and creating a shader that that you can use um, that works with Arnold. In this case, would be under the Arnold section, shaders. We're gonna use a standard surface shader, which is what Arnold likes the most. And I'm gonna grab from that, and I'm gonna connect to that shader. I'm gonna actually assign that shader to my object. So I'm gonna select it and apply to this one too, which both have the same material, the same UV maps are very similar. So I'm going to actually open up those pliers in order to see a bit more. Let me just change the pivot point so they can pivot. I'm pressing D to change the pivot point of my object, and D again to turn it off, the pivot, changing the pivot. Alright, I'm going to just open up this one a tiny bit here. Oh, I forgot to get the other one in there. So let me just find those. This part is going to be a child of this part. Alright, I'm going to just grab and rotate it like that. That way I get to see the texture there a bit more. Okay, so so I created the shader. Make sure I assign it to it. Right click on it, assign material to viewport selection. This one I'm actually going to make sure I don't get the handle, because I don't want the handles to have the same shader. So I'm going to actually move that one out of that group again. I'm going to put it back in the pliers group, but not as a child of the part 2. Okay, so this one already has it, and this one is going to receive it too. Okay, so that's the first thing I just want to do there, and I'm going to just do a quick test of it. Let me create a light with this presentation doesn't deal with Arnold lights, so I'm going to just do it with a basic light now. So I'm going to create a directional light, and I'm going to rotate that light just to illuminate my object in a regular manner here. I'm going to go a very bit closer on it. I'll just test render it. You can use the Arnold render window, or you can use the standard, rendering is the same thing. So you use Lens Shader Arnold, you play back, you'll be able to see roughly what your scene is. So that's what it is so far. Let me try to smooth this guys by just hitting 3 on my keyboard. That way I get a little bit better example. And the object is receiving a shader right now. So I'm actually going to update the shader better, connect to that shader. Let me just shrink this. My screen is a bit small here, so I'm trying to use this the best I can. Okay, so I'm going to connect to this guy. Let me see if I can do this a bit better here. I don't like the window that the outliner has, the Hypershade has on the side using here. So I'm going to connect on this side on its color. I'm going to connect file, and of course in that file, which is this node, I'm going to connect that image that I just created a little bit ago in Photoshop. It's an IFF. It's called Plier Body Color. And that doesn't show me an updated version of it here for some reason, but let's try if I can load it here. And I got added to it, and you could see the change in my object. You can see also here how the image is including that texture already there and the gray tone already there. There is a little bit of something missing here in terms of my color. I gotta see what that is. I don't know exactly if my object is not receiving those UV maps, are not receiving the color completely. Let me see it there. Uh, I'm not sure why it's doing that. It should be here on the tip of it, and it's completely white. So there might be some UV mapping. Oh, I see it. The UV map for this guy is incomplete. You can see here, those UVs are a little mistake there. They should be, yeah, they're kind of hidden there. So let me fix that and then we'll continue, okay? Okay, I just went and added those little UV polygons that were missing. Moved them there because they were kind of wrongly placed. So now if I go and I try to test render my my object, let's see, it's somewhere here. You can see it is better. So I'm going to just stop this so it doesn't take much memory in my computer. Just do a quick incremental save, that way we're not losing any work. As you can see, a little bit of the information there, the color information. It's not ideal, it's not perfect yet, but it's better. So I'm going to go back to Photoshop now, because of course I need to continue improving the look of my object. One of them is by adding a bump to it, or adding a little bit of information to it. And so I'm going to just do that. I'm just going to create in Photoshop. In the same file, I'm going to grab the scratches. I'm going to just grab them and bump them there. That way, I'm going to use simply create, let's see, a version of those scratches. Making sure that all the scratches will cover the whole object. I put the scratches behind my little, grip area, my little, rigid area there. And I'm going to turn this off, and I'm going to export out scratches, knowing that the bump will work based on, whatever is dark will be pushed out, whatever is white is going to put pushed in, and whatever is white is going to be pushed out. So in this case, the same thing. So I'm going to just save this as, and then this one will be an IFF again, and this time I'm going to call them player body bump. So this is just standard bump, nothing else but just standard bump. I'm going to save that, and then okay. Alright, so and I'm going to go back to Maya, and I'm going to connect to my standard shader. I'm going to connect the bump. The bump in the standard shader is not in the specular, it's actually in the area of geometry, and it's right there, bump mapping. So I'm going to go and open it up, and I'm going to just click on the file. I'm going to go and look down the path of the bump value, and there is my link to find my texture. In this case will be the player bump. I'm going to open that up, that shows there, and I'm going to just render it right away to see what happens. And you can see it there already showing all the bump information. Of course, it's way too much, so I'm going to just need to tone down by clicking on my bump node, which is the purple one. I'm going to just change the value here to say it's a small number, 0.1. I'm going to keep it very, very tiny. Still too much. I'm going to bring it down a tiny bit more, 0.02. That way it's just barely noticeable there. And that's kind of starting to add some good effects to it. Additionally, I'm going to use that same image that has, I'm going to just make it a bit larger so you can see it better. It's very light, but I'm going to use that image to provide me a little bit of specularity, so that maybe the parts where it's scratched, it won't be as shiny as the parts that are clean and new. So let me try doing that to see how that works. So I'm going to use the same file and try to open this window here, and I'm going to connect that to specularity, which is there. You can look at the specularity of the object. It will be the same. You say look at here. I'm going to connect it to the color of the specularity to see how I can generate a good effect. So I'm going to just grab out color here to the specular color right there. That way you see the connection happening and you see how much influence it has. So I'll try to just test that render to see if it has an influence or not. Maybe we didn't notice it, but it did a little bit of it. I can go and fine tune the specular value. Right now, the roughness of the object is very low, very low, so I can have it less or more rough to see that kind of like specularity effect showing up. It's not showing much, but it's there. The thing is that the reflection of objects or the specularity of objects, which is what specularity is, pretty much the reflection, gives you the effect more noticeable when you're reflecting something on it. Just like Chrome, you can see Chrome when an image or a background is reflected on it. Otherwise, you barely see it. So we'll leave it there for now. It's connected, it's just not showing fully, but I'm good so far. When I stop this, that way my computer doesn't crash. All right. So I'm gonna just stop it there for now, and then we're gonna move on to the next sequence. Okay.